So we have now Mike Griniezakis, hopefully I didn't butcher your name, from Advanced Services, going to talk to us a little bit about some advanced CSV import. So,
Because
that one.
the mission. Yeah. Okay. Hello everyone. I'm Mike. I work for Advanced Services, and together with the Getty Institute, we are developing the Provenance research project. Just to give a bit of context, we have already some experience with the importers of ArcGIS, as we have managed to load the whole Provenance database into ArcGIS using the JSON-LT importer of over 12 million records. So the first question that may come to your mind is, why did we focus on the CSV importer next after we finish the loading? The CSV importer will be used in an ever-growing database of the Provenance index. So it already is a huge database, but will continue to grow as we add more resources from all over the world using the CSV importer as a main mechanism to accept contributions from the users all over the world. So the users will be able to enrich the already existing data or add new data to the database. And also, we'll be able to reload incorrect resources that may break in some edits or anything else that can happen. And also, it will save us time in indexing because it will not need an explicit index. So as soon as the user uploads a new resource, the resource will be indexed automatically and will be automatically shown in the system. Okay, so I think many of you would already know how the CSV import works, but for those that do not know, so it is a tile in the bulk data manager in ArcGIS. This is the purple, let's say, tile. So you can press on it and it will take to the template page of CSV, where it will instruct the users to upload their CSV files to the system. Once they select a CSV file, this is the page that will be shown. It will show all the information from the CSV. So just to go a bit through the information, on the top left, this is file summary for the file that we uploaded. Underneath the target model, which is all the models that are already in the system. And this is the model that will add the CSV into. So we'll get a new resource and add to that model. And underneath it is the import details, where you can see the CSV that we're going to add. You can see that is a table with each column being a CSV header. And above it, in the light gray section, this is the nodes in the system. So for each column in the CSV, we'll match it to a node in the system, and we'll try to import it as it is. Also, because let's say in this example of Provenance, there are a lot of headers, there's also the match column nodes button. We'll try to automatically match the headers to the nodes in the system based on their names. This is a more specific example of our models. So this is an acquisition actor in our CSV that we match to acquisition actor in the system. So there's also the nesting here that we'll also explain a bit later. Okay, so after a lot of testing with our models, we came to the conclusion of these main limitations for the CSV importer. First of all, there was a problem with when the custom lists were empty. In this case, in the CSV, if we added, let's say, none or empty in the CSV, the system tried to convert this empty value to a valid concept in the system, and it failed, so it didn't manage to import anything. Secondly, there was a problem with handling the separators and the delimiters in the CSV file. So in our concept, we have some concept that may have inside them the comma as in CSV. So when the system tried to break the concept list into concepts, it broke them into commas, so the concept was invalid and didn't find anything. And lastly, it was the multiple tiles issue, that if the user added multiple tiles to the CSV, so let's say we want to add many names to that CSV, it only found one, it brought that one, and the rest were ignored. So using these main limitations, We test them against our largest model, the Provenance. As you can see, this is a part of it. And you can see there's a lot of nesting, so we should be able to handle all in this model. And this is a more specific example of rights acquisition that has only this part, about 3 levels of nesting. So the CSV report should be able to handle all this nesting and add the data correctly to the system. This is also the CSV of Provenance that we will import. As you can see, about 80% is only headers of the nodes. And the specific example is about some of the headers. And as you can see, there is also in the label section, there is also the parentheses and the language, where the system will try to match the node as the system node and the parentheses as the language of the label. So, if we try to import before the upgrade, this is a common issue, a common screen that we saw. Basically, there were a lot of issues, as you can see. There were a lot of invalid concepts, access style errors, and all that didn't allow us to import the CSV. This is another specific example. You can see that in this case we have the name source reference node, for example, and the resource instance list as type. And it was running an error that is not, it expected the resource relationship ID to be there, but it didn't. It tried to convert it to a UUID and failed because it doesn't exist here. It's an empty string. So that's also one of the issues that we fixed, as we now can generate, in these cases, the UIDs. Yeah, how many of you have already seen the screen? So this was our experience for a lot of our testing when we tried to import our complex models. Basically, the whole system just failed to import it. Or even if it were successful, there were three cases that even the data that were imported were not correct. So, for example, in the first case, if the source CSV contained empty string, empty fields, or none, the system, in some cases, replaced those empty fields with fields from other columns. That proved very wrong because the data were not correctly imported to the system. Secondly, no child nodes were imported, so no nesting could happen in the imported resources. Only the top-level nodes could only be supported. And thirdly, as we said before, the multiple tiles, that only the first one was imported and the rest were ignored entirely. So, using these findings, we try to improve the CSV, and I will talk about what we improved and some examples for its improvement. So in this case, this is about updating resources with the already existing ID. So I have already imported a group within a group in the system. So this is the ID that gave us back, the FC8F and so on. So we create a new CSV without ID, and we also added a new name content with the value geobyte updated name so we can find it. So after they imported a task, it completes successfully, and you can see that in the resource we can see the updated name among the others, the other names. So the system was able to find the already existing resource and add it and add the name to that resource. This example of the multiple tiles that were ignored if more than one existed in the CSV. So in this example, we have two name contents in this screenshot. There's a Barrett George with name type preferred terms, a Joe Barrett and name type corporate names. And in the old system, in the current implementation, let's say, the expected outcome was to import only one of them and the rest were ignored. So in this example, we can see that everything were imported with the correct types and names for each tile. This were the example in the screenshot. Moving on, this is the nesting functionality that is now supported in the CSV porter. So this is a very nested example. This is a transfer custody reactor example that has nesting inside the CSV. And this is the outcome, as we can see, that it handled the nesting correctly. And we can see that the data is correct as we want it to be. And also because our models are very large, we couldn't write all the headers by hand. So we added a new functionality about the download templates button. So in the screen of the CSV importer, there's now a new button, the download templates, where the user can press on it, and will show all the models in the existing installation. So if you can select one of the models, it will download the CSV with all the nodes as headers, and none in every header, in any value for each header. So the user only has to fill up the values to import, not the headers. So this is an example of an import that we did. Okay, so in this example, we created a group CSV that we're going to try to import. So we select the CSV. We select the CSV from the system, and we select the target model as a group as we expect it to be. So we will load the CSV, and it will show all the values that are in the CSV. We also match the columns of names to match our header names to the node system values, and we'll try to import the data. As you can see, we're taken to the task status screen, where you can see the status of our CSV import. You can see a lot of import, and also, after it is done, we go to the edit log to see the generated, the imported resource. So yeah, as you can see here, this is an example with multiple tiles. So with a single import, we imported multiple tiles. And if we scroll down a bit, the results of the nesting in this case right here, we supported the child node relationship. And underneath it, we results to the references, the related resources that will also be able to support. Okay. Finally, as the next steps about improving the CSV importer furthermore, we'll try to not only support adding new information to the system, we want to support replacing already existing information in the system. So instead of adding new tiles, we'll replace the current ones with the values that the user provided. And this also comes, it is tying to the second option about updating the default CSV exporter to support our input format, because currently the default CSV exporter in ArcGIS does not match fully our input format. So the user should be able to export the resource as it is, change something, and then replace it in the system. Thirdly, we want to speed up a little bit the validation type a little bit. So we want to validate the CSV before creating a task for it and trying to import it. So that the user can know the error before trying to import it. Better error reporting, because the errors are not very descriptive. So we want to provide the users with more errors and guide them on how to fix them. And fifth, for the future, let's say, we want to add some more AI functionality for column matching, because it will prove better for some cases and correct mistakes as typos. For example, if we added a concept with typo, it should be able to fix it automatically. So that's an example. So, thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for that. Yeah, this is a huge challenge, has always been to try to have a simple import function for complex data models and complex data sets. But apologies, maybe I missed something. So the enhancement to the CSV importer is in, is there a PR, or is it custom code that you rewrote in your ArcGIS implementation?
Yeah, it's currently in PR. We're preparing for ArcGIS 8. so it's in PR mode.
Oh wow. Okay, and so this could be something that would be like available in future version, like 8 or something.
We hope, yes.
That's amazing.
We hope.
And then, sorry, second follow-up question, if I can. Did you? I'm curious if you guys tried the branch Excel importer, because it also does a similar kind of thing. Of course, it's a much different format that you have to use.
Yeah, we tried different importers, but we stayed on the CSV importer as it is the easiest one for the users to add the information. So we want to use the CSV because it is, let's say, universal for everyone. So, and that will be our main way to add new data to the system currently.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation and for your work. I can't claim much credit, but most of it goes to my former colleague Namjoon over there. He wrote the CSV importer, along with other folks on Fairlawn. But I created the match column names to node IDs button. Because I feel your pain. Yeah, I also spent a lot of time thinking about this particular module, also customize it quite a bit, and there are a few thoughts and questions I have. One of them is, especially for the nested data, there are some assumptions that you're making in your code, right, on the back end. For example, the assumption is replace it if it exists, and I think that it might be good to let the user decide, essentially which mode. Have you used the CLI CSV import?
Live CSV import?
So the old CSV importer, you would run through the command line, and you would have to pass a mode, right? Like overwrite, append, and then I've added sort of custom modes, like append if exists or whatever. So I'm wondering if in your PR, this is my own personal request basically, could we add a functionality to select a mode? That way the user can say no, I definitely want to overwrite, or no, I don't want to overwrite, I only want to append if it doesn't exist, or something like that.
Yeah, so this is one of our next steps. So basically what we want to do is basically have two modes, as we said. One to import data and just to replace, one to replace. So the user will add another button there, let's say drop down, to select what they want to do, because we can't decide for them what they want to do. So when it is ready, we'll add another button, great idea.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then for parent-child tiled data, can you talk a little bit about how you architected that? Do the columns have to be ordered in a specific way, or say more of that?
Yeah, so how we did it is, this is about the columns, how they are together. So basically, if we find the parent, let's say, and we find later the child, we add it to that parent. If we find another file, we create a new part for it, and put the tiles next to them to the new parent. So that's how we did. We used the locality because other than that, the user would have to import a lot of text and a lot of choice, so it's not very user friendly. Yeah, so they have to be together right now.
That's interesting. I'm going to ask you more about that. One last thing I'll say is that I have, I have a change in a branch specifically for the resource instance node for importing it to CSV, where you can import it either a comma-separated list of UUIDs or a comma-separated list of legacy IDs, and it'll kind of create the relation, the resource instance. So we should link up after this.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Hello. Yes. Yeah, it was really interesting to see some of the stuff you've done, because actually we've been doing quite a bit of work on the importer as well. Maybe we've taken a slightly different approach with stuff. So I feel like from seeing some of the stuff you've done, maybe from our data set, there's maybe a bit of stuff I might have missed on importing, but we took more of an approach of building with, we sort of rebuilt the actual whole module and added in some of the extra stuff that you wanted to do. So we actually rebuilt the reporting page to create a whole new report section as well. And we added fuzzy searching to do all the typo airing. So I think it might be really good to meet up, talk afterwards, and maybe see how stuff compares, because I think maybe both of us could use some of the stuff that we've done. So, amazing.
Much polite way to say how you work. Super quick one. You said it was going to be a pull request.
Yeah.
Is it going to be potentially like just an installable module on its own, like in an app, so we can just install the advanced
currently-
CSV import instead?
Yeah, currently it's just a PR.
Just PR straight into core.
Instead core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No other questions? Okay. Well, thank you again, Mike. Appreciate it. That was great.
Thank you very much.